Hello, my dear students, and welcome to today's lesson. Reading the Journal of Robert O'Hara Burke for Grade 9, Module 5, Lesson A, Students Book, page 52 and 53. Let's get started. Let's start with the learning objectives. Students will be able to 1. Recognize some words related to the reading text about the Journal of Robert O'Hara Burke. 2. Identify the main idea of the reading text. 3. Respond to some WH questions after scanning the reading text. Here we are going to recognize some words related to the reading text. Look at these two pictures. Set off, and it is a phrasal verb which means to begin a journey. For example, we set off at 8 o'clock and we arrived in London 2 hours later. Look at the people here. What do we call them? Excellent, my students. Crowd. And it is a noun, which means a large group of people who have gathered together. For example, there was a large crowd at the football match. Look at this picture. What do we call this? Very good, my students. Wagon. And it is a noun, which means a vehicle with 4 wheels, usually pulled by a horse. Look at the following example. In the past, people used horses to pull wagons. What do we call these things? Excellent, my students. Supplies. And it is a noun, which means food, clothes, medicine, etc. that are necessary for a particular purpose. For example, we bought some supplies for our camping trip. The next word is challenge, and it is a noun, which means an invitation to take part in something, such as a competition, game, etc. For example, we accept our friend's challenge and agreed to play football against them the next day. Look at the following pictures. It's very hot here. So the heat is unbearable. And it is an adjective, which means so unpleasant or annoying that you can't accept it. For example, I am sick of summer. The heat is unbearable. Look at this picture. What are they doing? They bury, and it is a verb which means to hide something in the ground. For example, the man put the gold coins in a box and buried it in the garden. The last word is expedition. It is a noun which means an organized journey for a particular purpose. Look at the following example. We went on an expedition to the mountains to explore the caves. Now open your student's book, page 52. Here we have some pre-reading questions. What does the map show? Excellent, my students. Australia. What kind of text is it? Look at the text. A letter, a journal, or a dialogue? Very good, my students. It's a journal. 3. Who do you think the man in the picture is? Here, in this picture. Excellent, my students. He's Robert O'Hara Burke. Now open your student's book, page 52, 5A. 1. Read exercise A. Look at the reward announcement on the right, the map, and the newspaper clipping. What do you think the explorers tried to do? Did they succeed? This is the reward, and this is the map, and this is the newspaper clipping. Now pause the video, then answer. Exercise B. Read and check your answers in the previous activity. Now we are going to read the text, then answer the questions to get the main idea of the reading text. Let's start. And you can follow the speaker.
Module 5. Destinations. 5A. 1. Read.
£2,000 reward for the first successful south-north crossing of the continent, issued by the South Australian Government, 1859. The Journal of Robert O'Hara Burke.
20th of August, 1860. We set off early. A large crowd had gathered in Royal Park. The expedition consists of 19 men, 26 camels, 23 horses and 6 wagons. Around 20 tons of equipment and food for 2 years. We are all very excited. 24th of September, 1860. Loaded the camels with supplies and ordered the men to walk. 2nd of November, 1860. Have received word that John McDougall's Stewart has taken up the challenge. I'm worried about our slow progress. I had expected to travel faster. Stewart is a more experienced explorer than I am. My second-in-command, Wills, and I have decided to take the 7 strongest men and horses and continue quickly to Cooper's Creek. The others can catch up later. 15th of December, 1860. Everyone is safe and settled here in Cooper's Creek. Tomorrow, Wills and I are going to take some men and camels and go north. So Brahe is in charge until we return. 9th of February, 1861. Reached the swamps today. Good weather. Journey was easier than I had thought. Finally, the Gulf of Carpentaria is very near, but we are running out of supplies. 17th of April, 1861. The return journey is getting harder. The heat is unbearable. We have lost a lot of camels and some good men. It's very sad. 21st of April, 1861. We finally managed to get to Cooper's Creek. Very disappointed. Brahe and the others left this morning. I had told them to wait 13 weeks. It's been 18. They left a note and buried some supplies under a tree. It's late evening now. We are exhausted and very weak. So, no hope of catching up with them.
The Sydney Morning Herald, the 12th of August, 1862. Tragic end for first explorers to cross the continent. An expedition returned yesterday with the bodies of Robert O'Hara Burke and William Wills. They died shortly after they had reached Cooper's Creek on their way home. They were the first Europeans.
Now let's check your answers to get the main idea. Question number 1. What do you think the explorers tried to do? They tried to cross Australia or the Australian continent from the south to the north. Did they succeed? Yes. They managed to make the crossing, but 2 of them died on their return. Well done, my students. This is exercise C in the student's book, page 53. And this is a while reading activity. Now scan the text, then read it carefully and answer the questions. Here we have 8 WH questions. Now pause the video, read these questions, scan the text, then answer the following questions. Now after scanning the text, let's check your answers. Question number 1. Who is the leader of the expedition? Excellent, my students. Robert O'Hara Burke. Can you find a clue in the text to justify this answer? Very good, my students. It's here. Question number 2. What supplies did they start their journey with? Very good, my students. They started their journey with 20 tons of equipment and food for 2 years. Can you justify this answer in the text? Very good, my students. It's here, in this part. Number 3. Why was Burke worried when he found out about Stuart? Excellent, my students. Because Stuart was a more experienced explorer than him. Can you find a clue in the text to justify this answer? That's right. It's here. Question number 4. Who arrived at Cooper's Creek first? Very good, my students. Burke, Wells, and 7 of their strongest men. Can you find a clue to justify this answer? Good job, my students. It's here. Number 5. Why was the return journey difficult? Good job, my students. Because they were running out of supplies, the heat was unbearable, and they had lost a lot of camels and some good men. Can you find a clue in the text to justify this answer? That's right. It's here. Question number 6. Why did Burke tell Brahe to wait for 13 weeks? Excellent, my students. Because that's how long he expected it would take him to go from Cooper's Creek to the Gulf of Carpentaria and return. Can you find a clue in the text to justify this answer? That's right. It's here. Number 7. Why did Brahe bury some supplies under a tree? Very good, my students. Because he wanted them to be safe from animals, so that Burke could find them. Can you find a clue in the text to justify this answer? Excellent, my students. It's here in this part. The last question, number 8. Why couldn't Burke and Wells catch up with the others? Good job, my students. Because they were exhausted and very weak. Can you find a clue in the text to justify this answer? That's right. It's here. Well done, my students. Now let's move to exercise D in the student's book, page 53. Look at the highlighted words or a phrase in the text and match them with their meanings. Then check your answers in a dictionary. This is the phrase, and these are the words, and here we have the meanings. Now pause the video, read the words and the phrase and their meanings here, then match. Let's check your answers. 1. Set off. It's with C, to begin a journey. 2. Crowd. It's with E, a large group of people who have gathered together. 3. Wagon. It's with A, a vehicle with 4 wheels, usually pulled by a horse. 4. Supplies. It's with H, food, clothes, medicine, etc. that are necessary for a particular purpose. 5. Challenge. It's with B, a difficult task that tests somebody's ability. 6. Unbearable. It's with G, so unpleasant or annoying that you can't accept it. 7. Bury. Very good, my students. It's with D. To hide something in the ground. And the last word is weak, which means not strong, with F. Well done, my students. This is a post-reading activity. Over to you. Research and present. Find information about other famous explorers and the places they discovered or explored. Prepare a brief summary and present it to the class. Okay, my students, this is the end of our lesson today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.